What if Earth had rings? Imagine looking up at the night sky, and instead of seeing a lone moon, you see a shimmering band of light stretching across the heavens, glowing brightly, wrapping around the Earth like a cosmic crown. What if Earth had rings just like Saturn? How would that change our planet, our lives, and even the solar system as a whole? In this video, we're going to dive into one of the most fascinating what-if scenarios in astronomy, the idea of Earth with rings. We'll explore how they might look, how they would affect our climate, our culture, our satellites, and what ripple effects they might have far beyond our planet. First, let's imagine the basics. Saturn's rings are mostly made of ice and rock, stretching hundreds of thousands of kilometers wide, but only about 10 meters thick. If Earth had rings, their size and shape would depend on how they formed. Perhaps they were created from a shattered moon or an asteroid that broke apart after getting too close to Earth. In that case, the rings would likely sit around the equator, just as they do around Saturn. From the ground, the view would be breathtaking. Instead of a dark night sky, people across the globe would see a luminous band arching overhead, glowing with reflected sunlight. Near the equator, the rings would appear as vertical lines stretching into the sky. While closer to the poles, they would look more like a glowing arc across the horizon. Nighttime would never be truly dark again. Cities, villages, and ancient civilizations would grow up under skies filled with radiant stripes of ice. This would have profound effects on human history and culture. Imagine the myths, religions, and art inspired by a sky that constantly displayed enormous rings. Instead of worshiping the stars and constellations, ancient people might have based entire calendars and belief systems on the appearance of the rings. Poets would write about them, sailors would navigate with them, and astronomers might have discovered the structure of the solar system centuries earlier, simply because Earth's sky would always remind us of the grandeur of planetary rings. But rings wouldn't just be beautiful, they would also change how Earth works. One of the most important effects would be on our climate. Rings reflect sunlight, and depending on their composition, they might block some of the sun's rays from reaching Earth's surface. This could cool certain regions, altering weather patterns, and even triggering ice ages in extreme cases. Areas directly under the rings might experience permanent shadows at certain times of the year. Imagine living under a sky that dims midday sunlight into a long twilight glow. At night, however, the opposite might happen. The rings would reflect sunlight back onto Earth's surface, creating brighter nights. Many parts of the world would never experience true darkness. No starry night, no Milky Way overhead, only the shimmering glow of ice bands. For nocturnal animals, this would be life-changing. Creatures that rely on darkness for hunting or hiding would struggle to survive. Evolution itself might take a different path, shaping species that adapt to permanent brightness in the sky. The rings would also affect Earth's technology and space exploration. Right now, Earth's orbit is relatively clear, making it easy to launch satellites, space telescopes, and space stations. But with rings, launching rockets would become far more dangerous. Debris in the rings would orbit at incredible speeds, creating a minefield of ice and rock around our planet. Humanity would have to design new ways of navigating through or around the rings to reach outer space. In fact, our communication systems could be completely different. Today, satellites orbit Earth in neat bands, allowing for GPS, internet, and global communication. But with massive rings in the way, many of those orbits might be impossible. The development of modern technology could have been delayed or forced to evolve in a totally different direction. The moon would also play a role. Earth's gravitational pull already stabilizes our moon, but adding rings would complicate the system. Pieces of the rings might fall into Earth's atmosphere as shooting stars or, in the worst case, as catastrophic impacts. On the other hand, the moon itself might help keep the rings stable. shepherding their particles the same way Saturn's small moons keep its rings in shape. Now, what about tides? Earth's tides are governed by the moon's gravity, but rings would also have some gravitational influence. While the effect wouldn't be as strong as the moon's, the extra pull could create complex tidal patterns in our oceans. Coastal regions might experience unpredictable surges, reshaping ecosystems and perhaps even human settlement. Civilizations might never have developed in certain coastal areas if the tides were too extreme or too irregular. There's also the question of visibility from space. If Earth had bright icy rings, astronauts and spacecraft approaching the planet would see Earth glowing with a spectacular halo. Our planet would be one of the most visually stunning objects in the solar system, rivaling Saturn itself. From Mars or the outer planets, telescopes would capture Earth not as a blue marble, but as a brilliant orb wrapped in shimmering bands. And this raises another fascinating question. Would life have developed the same way on Earth if rings had been present all along? Consider photosynthesis. Plants rely on sunlight, and if large areas of Earth had been permanently shaded by the rings, ecosystems might have evolved differently. Entire biomes could be cooler, darker, and more dependent on reflected light rather than direct sunlight. Humanity's agricultural development might have been concentrated in fewer regions, delaying or altering the rise of civilization. Culturally, though, the rings would have united us in awe. From the very beginning, every human would look up and see the same breathtaking view. Unlike stars, which shift with latitude, rings would dominate every sky on Earth. Our earliest stories, religions, and scientific curiosity would all share one common symbol: the glowing halo of Earth itself. On a broader scale, the solar system would notice Earth's rings too. Just as Saturn's rings reflect sunlight and are visible from far away, Earth's rings would shine brightly across the inner solar system. From Mars, Venus, or even distant telescopes, Earth would stand out as a planet with a spectacular glow. Future spacefaring civilizations from other planets would recognize Earth instantly, not just as the blue planet, but as the world with rings. But rings are not forever. Over millions of years, Earth's rings would slowly change. Gravitational forces, collisions, and the pull of the atmosphere could cause particles to fall from orbit. Just like Saturn's rings are disappearing, Earth's rings might eventually fade away too. Future generations might live on a planet where the rings are only a memory, preserved in myths and stories of the past. So, what if Earth had rings? Our skies would be brighter, our nights transformed, our technology challenged, and our history reshaped. Civilization itself might have developed differently. But one thing is certain: life on Earth would never feel the same under such a spectacular, ever-present crown. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: imagining Earth with rings reminds us of how unique and fragile our planet really is. Even without a glowing halo in the sky, Earth is already extraordinary. Our single moon, our blue oceans, and our thin atmosphere make this world a rare jewel in the solar system. Rings or not, Earth is already a miracle. So the next time you look up at the night sky, picture it not as it is, but as it could have been, with radiant bands of ice arching across the heavens. Then take a moment to appreciate the world we have, because even without rings, Earth is still the most beautiful planet we know. Thank you for joining this journey of imagination and science. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more what-if explorations of the cosmos. And remember, whether Earth has rings or not, wonder will always be with us.